Ghorm the Devourer may seem like one of the hardest boss fights you'll encounter in the game, but don't worry, you can soon actually take care of him as long as you're equipped with the right items. I'm going to show you guys how to defeat him, how you can even outrun him running around the circle that he basically patrols, and all the top tips you need to know. Do leave a like, check out the rest of my Core Keeper content, and let's go. So it might be rare, but you might have missed Ghorm the Abominous Mass. He's probably the first boss you encounter, as he's normally close to spawn in a slime biome. He'll give you a slime sword, but he'll also give you the markers for the next two bosses. Well, the ability to craft them at least. The slime sword is essential. You don't necessarily need that marker though, because the circle is pretty easy to find where you'll find Ghorm. He'll pretty much go in a wide one, and as long as you go in one direction or another, you should hit it no problem. I did a whole complete loop of this area just to show it on the map before I faced the boss, and made sure that I explored some of the areas it exposed. Problem is, when you're trying to catch up to Ghorm running around this area, it's hard because the slime will slow you down, so you need a couple of tools to really defeat him. You may need to get an accessories bench, so you could go ahead and craft the Swift Ring. This is going to give you a big speed boost. Okay, maybe it's not that big, it's just nearly 7%, but it doesn't actually wear out, unlike a lot of the other stuff. But you also do need a bit of additional help. Exploring some of the dungeon areas, you'll come across loads of boxes, and hopefully you'll get a Swift Feather as a drop. It gives you a 200% movement speed little dash. Another thing that will help is the Slime Sword. It slows down targets' movement speed by 41 points or percent. It only lasts 4 seconds, but as long as you're hitting the actual boss a few times as you're chasing him, it should slow him down enough to keep track. There are some other tools that can help. You can get a set of larvae ring and necklace. That means you go over slime at the same speed, so you won't have a reduction penalty. But to get them, you're probably going to have to kill quite a few larvae and stuff. In my 20 hours of playing, I've still only come across the ring, and I've only just got the necklace, way after I defeated this boss. You may actually get it from drops exploring some of the leftover ruin areas that you find, but yeah, I had this as the goal, but in the end I didn't really need it. As long as you've got a combination of either the ring, the feather, or the ring, and at least some good food meals that have the peppers in them. Anything with the peppers in is going to give you an extra 21% movement speed, so this is also crucial for taking him out. Combine that with any weapons or any extra accessories that you've got room for that will give extra critical damage, and you're on to a winner. In terms of armour, yes, I am wearing some armour that is bronze and the iron, so you probably do need something that's going to withstand, because one hit from him does do a hell of a lot of damage. And I am still using that slime sword, as I said, because it's great for slowing him down. I thought I would be facing the boss like this the whole way round, that I just had to keep peppering him and going over. You could try laying a whole bunch of spike traps in front of him, but he does destroy them as he goes over apparently as well. And other people have said that you can try using like grenades or bombs and stuff, but I found that wasn't as easy either. But eventually, once you've knocked him about 25-30% of his health down, you'll stop running around in that circle and pretty much start charging at you in smaller, tiny little circles. You have to be careful if you've got any larvae around here as well, so it's a good idea to maybe clear it out. But this will help get you some extra space going over places that don't necessarily have as much slime. And yeah, it's not that hard. You just got to remember that as soon as he starts turning, that's it. You just move in another direction completely and just get 1 or 2 hits in. As always though, don't get too close to him, because if you do, you will actually take damage even if you've not been hit directly by his face. You can see it's doing me like 48 damage every time that's happened. Here you can maybe start using any range weapons that you got, either a slingshot if you found a musket. And yeah, if you want to mess around with any grenades or bombs that you've got, you could also try that as well. But I didn't really feel like I needed it too much. I just used a few shots just to see what would happen. And you can see I'm doing a fair bit of damage though, because I've got a couple of critical hits. Keep an eye on your health. Make sure you're having lots of regenerative foods now. So maybe switch from the movement speed. Although movement speed is good, obviously, for dodging out the way, just in case he does turn around. And yeah, just don't get too close to him. When he's at the apex of his turn, you go down. And when he's at the bottom of his turn, he's going up. Then you move up. Sometimes he will do a bit of a longer little run, so it looks like he's about to go completely off again, but be on the lookout for that. You don't want to go out of sight of him. Remember, if you try and leave and come back to finish the fight, he will regen a lot of their health. That goes for all the bosses, so you can't really leave the area once you start a boss fight. You've got to try and finish it to completion. But yeah, it doesn't go turbo like the Ghorm slime boss did. He kind of just still does the same attacks without any kind of big massive speed increase or anything. In the end, I found him pretty easy. This was my first attempt and it wasn't as bad as I thought it would be. You could test out to see whether a combination of maybe like the feather and maybe some bell pepper food will be enough to keep up with him, or maybe you haven't got the feather, maybe you might be able to do it with just the actual ring and some bell pepper food. Once he's brown bread, you get another chest and obviously loads of goodies. You'll get a whole bunch of golden larvae meat to make some really great foods, and then you get a bit of gold ore. You also get a brand new larvae chest piece. You do also get another set that you can make, but you can see that it's pretty good. A tin axe, which is meant to do wider damage, and then you get a larvae ring. That was part of the set that I was looking for earlier. As you can see, it stops you being immune to the slowness of slime. You obviously get the drop that you need to put inside the core as well, Ghorm's horn. And unlike the first boss where the NPC drops where you kill him, I actually found the NPC way before I found the boss fight. So that's what the mysterious idol was for. You can go ahead and put that on the floor in the room, just like with the first boss, in an 8x8 square with a door and a bed, and he should start spawning in. And then you've got Ghorm's stomach bag, which increases your inventory slots by 12. It's not as good as the Explorer. It's only one extra, but the Explorer bag does give you some extra bonuses. So yeah, it's not a great one. Pop the horn inside the core and you unlock them 2 pieces of Carapace helm and chest, and you can see it's a set damage that will give you extra boost in damage after you've been mining a wall. So really great for taking out some of the larvae maybe. You can see it's made out of tin mostly and some larvae meat, as well as a little bit of slime and fibre. And it does indicate that maybe explosives were the way to go with him, as it gives you an extra boost in explosive damages, or maybe it'll be good for the Hive boss, which is next. And then you get the recall idol, which will basically teleport you back to your base. It only costs 1 ancient gemstone, 1 mechanical part, although it does basically disappear once you've used it the first time. So you'll have to craft a few of these if you just want to get back to base really super quickly. And just to mention as well that the actual larvae chest gives you a disguise as a larvae. So I'm pretty certain if you find 2 of them, or maybe you have to kill him twice by re-summoning him, which again I'll show you in a second, then that means you might be able to go past the larvae without them hurting you in the future. So as said, I found the NPC actually much earlier when I was exploring, and he's just chilling. You can actually go and buy stuff from him here, but you can't get him to go back to live with you until you've actually killed Ghorm and got the item that he needs on the floor. But you can see you get the summoning idols, and these will allow you to summon the bosses you've already defeated. You can buy some caveling bread from him, an iron chunky chain which gives you a load of armour, and then obviously you've got the musket which is good for long range, although it's a bit finicky to use. It will be exactly the same items when you get them back to your base when you've placed the correct items for them. And another bonus from defeating the second boss is that the first trader NPC you come across will now start selling tin ore as well as larvae meat. I can't remember off the top of my head whether or not the larvae meat is good for making the iron skin potions, which stop you taking less damage or give you extra armour, or whether or not it's good for the critical chance. But either way, they are great to use in all sorts of food recipes and potions. And there we go, job done, Ghorm defeated. Now it's on to the Hive Mother, and I'll show you guys how to complete that in the near future. Check out the rest of my core keeper guides, and I'll see you rat bags later.